From the heart of the city, straight to your radio. Honest, intimate, real. This is where love gets real and real gets deep. It's not just talk, it's the Love Talk Show. Are you ready? Then let's dive in right now.
A very good evening to all of you. The Love Talk Show is coming back. With me, I have Andrea, my wife. Good evening.
Hello everyone. Once again, under the light of intelligent love, we are discussing one more topic, another one very interesting, and we are having topics very curious and very different, and that's very good. Let's see if you are on the same page as us or if you have different opinions. And the topic today is...
You can say it.
Oh, I really like to disclose our topics. So conflict styles, fighters, fleers, and freezers. In which of these categories do you include yourself? This is food for thought.
Well, I think you know what we meant when we are talking about these styles, let's say it. For you to ask yourself in which one of them you are more related to. Are you a fleer, a fighter? Are you a freezer? In which condition are you at in your relationship, in your love life? Mm-hmm. If you could already identify who you are or who your partner can be, so let them know about the Love Talk Show, and we are going to talk about these three styles and help them in improving, and of course, improving. If they are able to improve, the relationship will also improve. Pay attention to this report.
Today we are pulling back the curtains on how we react when the heat is turned up in our relationships. We're talking about conflict styles, the fighter, the fleer, and the freezer. Think about the last time you and your partner had a real disagreement. Did you step up to the plate, ready to argue your point until you found a resolution? Or did you find yourself looking at the nearest exit, literally or emotionally? Maybe you just went numb, unable to find the words to speak at all. These aren't just personality quirks. They are deeply wired survival strategies. Fight, flight, or freeze. That trigger when you feel misunderstood or emotionally unsafe. Take the fleer, for example. We see this often in Hollywood, most famously with Leonardo DiCaprio. He is the ultimate illustration of the flight response in a commitment. He dates, he connects, but as soon as the relationship reaches the high pressure point where commitment or marriage becomes the focus, he exits. He runs before the conflict of long-term expectations can catch up to him. Then we have the fighters, like the iconic characters in the movie Fireproof. The push forward with such intensity that they save their marriage. And finally, the freezers, like many characters in modern dramas who shut down and become a wall of silence when their partners ask for more. This is more common than you think. According to a study by the Gottman Institute, roughly 65% of men and a significant percentage of women engage in stonewalling, which is the freeze or flight response during a high-stress conflict. Their research shows that these instinctive reactions are among the leading predictors of relationship failures if left unmanaged. While we are wired for survival, these reactions often kill the intimacy we are trying to protect. But which one are you? And more importantly, which one should you be? Is there a best style to have inside of you when the going gets tough? Before we move into the heart of the show, we want you to think about your own patterns. When you feel overwhelmed, do you come out swinging? Do you run for the hills like DiCaprio? Or do you turn into a statue? Do you want to learn how to move past these survival instincts and actually find a lasting resolution? Stay tuned, because we are about to show you how to identify your style, more importantly, how to deal with it. Don't go anywhere.
This is the Love Talk Show on Liberty Radio.
So now that you could watch this or you could hear this report, I think it's even more clear, and you can have a better understanding in which one of them you are included. You can fit yourself to. If you are a fighter, if you are a fleer, or if you are the one who freezes. And let's talk about the fighters. Who are the fighters? Who are the ones who are always looking for this? Are the ones who are extremely direct, and usually they are extremely intense. They are intense in their opinions, they are intense in trying to resolve the problem, but they are also intense in creating more problems.
Well, that depends on the perspective.
Yes.
If the partner is willing to address the situation on the moment, so that's okay, it will be good. But the thing is, this first characteristic, the fighters, they don't care usually, okay, if the partner is ready to discuss the situation that went on the spot, on the moment. Even because actually when we have a disagreement, and if you are a couple, if you are in a relationship, you know that we disagree, it's normal, it's common. Escalating is another thing, but that's not what we are talking about here today. But usually when a couple has a disagreement, it's something that brings up all sorts of emotions, and we become upset, very nervous. We just want to prove a point. We don't want sometimes to listen. We just want to talk. So usually when this fighter, he wants to sort the situation there and then, usually the fighter regrets what they say. They regret because in the heat of the moment we might say things
because they are driven by the urgency.
Yes, exactly.
They are driven by what the moment is telling them. They don't think a lot about the consequences. Sometimes they want to quench the fire here, but they don't understand the trace and the problems that they may create trying to solve a small problem here. And solving this problem here, sometimes they can be creating another one.
That's it.
The fighter, the one who wants always to be intense and direct, it's not a calm person. Usually it's a short-tempered person.
And emotionally activated, like we were mentioning. A problem arises, a situation, a challenge in between the couple, and then the voices are raised, strong language sometimes, unfortunately, or passionate expression. So all of this is included there in the heat of the moment. And if we act on that, for sure we will regret afterwards. And we have to pay attention, because words that are said, words that are spoken, we can't withdraw them, we can't take them back. And usually the consequences of those words, sometimes they can remain forever. That's why the other one, the partner that is not a fighter, avoids to fight, avoids to sort the situation.
They can burn the heart, they can burn the relationship.
And then you can't take it back, so it hurts. So these fighters, it's good, like I've started in one point, because they like to sort it, they don't like to sleep over it. But on the other hand, when we do something in a rush or on the heat, or based in the heat of the moment, we might regret afterwards.
Driven, as we said, by urgency. Well, we have always the fleers, the ones who flee away from whatever is going on. They don't want, avoidance. To avoid something is what they do every single day. They don't want problems. They don't want to be in any mess. They don't want to be in any confusion. They don't They don't want problems at all. At the end of the day, whatever they have to do, they run away from the problem, not to have to argue or discuss or talk about it. And sometimes this gives an idea that this person who flees wants to pretend that there is no problem. When the problem comes from one side, when how can I say, a moment for this person to face something and to solve it and to fight for it and to, having or demanding from them a decision, an action, what do? They run, they avoid this confrontation, they avoid this talk, they avoid this problem, and with it at the back of their minds, they are not having problems. But the truth is, no matter how much they flee and they are running away, sooner or later that problem, that confront, whatever the situation is, will find them.
So we have two extremes here: the one that wants to fight, the fighter, the one that wants to solve the situation on the spot, and the one that runs away and doesn't want to solve the situation, doesn't want conflicts, is overwhelmed by intensity. When this fleer starts understanding or acknowledging that the situation will rise, maybe sometimes by the tone of voice of the partner, is already out of the door, is already running, is not there anymore. Because
contrary to the other, it feels unsafe when the intensity is arising, when the fire is there. Is the one that needs to step out. He needs to go away to think and rethink and keep on thinking. And obviously we have to find the balance that we are going to talk about it. Well, we also see that the one who flees, often he creates this distance between themselves and those who potentially they love. They don't like to be too much involved when the responsibility, the challenges, the demands, when the problem, when the demands are coming, they don't want to be there. They run away. And usually when they are moving away from the conflict, I was saying, Andre, the conflict goes after them. And even if the fleer runs away from one partner and go to the other, and from a short relationship to another one, the fleer will end up facing always the same obstacle, and the need of confronting, the need of solving, the need of taking a decision
and talk.
And sometimes if they flee, the problem is not solved, neither from outside, not from within. Well, we are going to talk about the one who freezes, but first I would like to hear what people are commenting about these three personalities.
Straight from the people, straight to you. The word on the street.
Imagine you and your partner react very differently during arguments. One pushes to resolve things immediately, while the other shuts down. Would that difference make conflict harder to handle, or just reflect different ways of coping with stress?
Yeah, I think it would make it, I think people are different, aren't they? I think the way they respond to situations, if you're in a relationship, I think working out the mechanics that work for you. So I'm married, and we spend time talking about managing conflicts and finding the result that works for you. I think that's part of a healthy relationship. It's the same in any conflict, I guess, to some degree.
It would make it harder, yeah, definitely. It would make conflict harder.
Reflect different ways, yeah. Because I'm very amicable in my relationship. I'm the calm one. But with me, what I like to do, obviously, is not make anything escalate. I like to understand where he's coming from, and then we then come to a compromise. That's how we like to work. It's the best way.
I think it would reflect a different way of coping with stress. And if each partner understands how the other is likely to behave and makes a certain allowance for it, then you can move forward. Because if one person shuts off and goes quiet, the other person needs to just let that happen for a little while. And then you come together and you can talk about it. I think that's perfectly okay. And it's normal that people are different, but it's recognizing the differences and working with it.
So everyone does react differently to conflict and confrontation, but I think for a healthy relationship, you absolutely have to communicate. That is the key. So obviously understanding everyone's different and they react differently, but ultimately you do need to communicate with each other and resolve the resolution, as soon as possible.
What if, when you try to address the issue right away, your partner leaves the room or avoids the conversation?
There will be a bit of like a discussion or an argument. I do then sometimes walk away just to calm down, but then I come back and then I talk it through. So I think obviously if someone does walk away, it still needs to be addressed. But obviously if someone, that's their coping mechanism, it's understanding that. But yeah, it does still need to be discussed. You can't let it fester and go on and never be discussed.
Well, that's pretty much what we do. He has a different argument style to me. He likes to argue now. I like to leave the room. We give ourselves space, and then once we calm down, we come together and we talk properly.
I think the space. I think definitely running after a person who's in an emotional state trying to get a rational response is going to be really hard. And even if you are right. So no, and you may not be. So I think the best thing to do is space and just separate. Take a bit of time. Come back in, and talk about it later. Yeah, absolutely.
9 times out of 10, I leave him be. I let him calm down and then I go back to it maybe in a couple of hours. I don't go in and escalate a situation. I like to also process. I let him process because we always come from different channels. That's what I've learned over the years, to be honest. Let him understand where I've come from, I understand where he comes from, and then we come back and unite.
I would be annoyed. I'm an Aries, I probably would fire up and go, for goodness sake, and stomp off, but it wouldn't last for long and I'd come back and we'd revisit it at some point because it's important that you do. Otherwise, these things just fester. It doesn't matter if it takes a day. Well, better not a day and you don't go to sleep on an argument, but it can be sorted.
What if giving them space means the issue never actually gets discussed?
That's difficult because I think that's not good if it's never discussed or resolved, because you don't know that one person may be able to forget about it, but you don't know that the other person won't, and then it causes unspoken resentment and can surface even years down the line. So that's not good. Personally, I would do everything to avoid that sort of a situation and deal with it as soon as I could do. Because we can all react very quickly if something's pressed a button and be emotional, but acknowledge that, think on it, calm down a little bit, and then come together and be sensible.
Yeah, it wouldn't get discussed. I guess you kind of resent each other because you've not resolved the issue. So maybe anger builds up and it comes out in other ways.
Well, I think it has to at the end. I mean, otherwise you get into a cycle where you're talking about the same or arguing about the same points again. And I don't think that's very healthy. So I think getting to a point where if it's a persistent problem, you have to find that state where you are calm and you can talk about the problem and discuss it. But yeah, in the state of high emotion, you never get things, often don't get things done, do you, when you do that?
I don't like to leave anything. I have to make sure we got that karma before going to bed. I can't. And if we can't resolve something in that evening, we come back to it the next day. I don't tend to brush things under the carpet. It has to, because then it comes back years later. Always does. Play it out. If it doesn't resolve in that matter and that evening, always come back to it and resolve it, because it does come back within the relationship in months, in weeks, yeah. It always does. But it comes back in different ways.
This is the Love Talk Show on Liberty Radio.
And you could hear what people they think about this topic. And as always, I really enjoy to hear what people think about what we are expressing here, what we are sharing here in the Love Talk Show. And we already spoke about the fighter. We already spoke about the fleer. And I want to talk about the one who freezes. Is the one who, it shuts down. Mentally, it doesn't have any kind of of reaction. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know where to go. If the fire is there, he has no reaction. He doesn't know if he needs to think, if he needs to act. He doesn't know if he needs to smile. He doesn't know if he needs to cry. He doesn't know if he needs to get married. He doesn't know if he needs to run away from the relationship. He doesn't know if he has to go to her parents or if he needs to get a better job. He doesn't know if he needs to get more money or if he has to find a new house. Is the kind of person that freezes and has no action. And as I'm talking, I'm thinking, look what nightmare can be when a freezer is married or is in a relationship with a fleer, or a freezer is in a relationship with the fire.
Each one of us can fit in one of these three characteristics. So one of us, maybe if you are not a fleer, you are a kind of a fleer. Maybe if you are not totally 100% a fighter, maybe you have that instinct of fire within you. Or maybe you freeze, you don't know how to react, you shut down internally and you don't want to talk about it, you become numb and you want to dissociate yourself from that conflict. That's the freezer?
Yeah, they
not the freezer.
Intentionally,
Yeah, the freezer.
intentionally, they don't do this by purpose. It's exactly because they freeze. They don't know what to do. They are in front of the problem. They are not avoiding it. They are not running away of it, but they are not also solving it because they don't know what to do. And
it's an instinct.
And if you are involved with a person like this person can be lovely. This person can have a very good heart. This person can, have the best education ever. But when the subject is the romantic love or the love life, and they freeze, they don't know what to do next. You know that you can be patient once, you can patient twice, but you see that it's not a matter of being patient with these people. It's a characteristic they have. It's something that is part of them. And they don't know what else to do.
Something I was thinking about the freezer is that they can even be easily taken advantage of. Why? Because a fighter will fight back. If you say something, they will just sometimes even explode. And the runner is not even there to talk with.
When you start the conversation, he's already
gone. But the freezer, this one, he will stay back if you mistreat this person, and that's even very serious. And it can become a huge problem for this person. Why? Because the person doesn't react. If you mistreat them, sometimes they just don't respond. They just stay there. Sometimes they bring the blame or the guilt of everything that is happening to themselves because they don't know how to react to the situation. So they bring it in and they just assume it. Or maybe it was my fault. Maybe I didn't express myself properly. Maybe I was the one causing or generating this situation. And it's even internally and emotionally harmful, a person that is this manner. Of course, the others are also, because the fighter will cause a confusion with everything that it might possibly say in the heat of the moment. The fleer will never solve a problem, and no one is able to stand the person, at least in a relationship, that doesn't talk about it or communicate in order to overcome the issues. But of course, this one, the freezer, might bring everything within. And this is something that I was thinking about, becoming numb, staring at the situation and not know how to react. And like we were mentioning, it's non-intentional.
Yeah.
It's something that maybe it was even caused by a trauma, but it's an instinct and the person doesn't know how to react. Usually gentle people and people that are very peaceful and calm and even humble have this type of characteristic. adding to a trauma that they probably might have gone through, this can become a very dangerous combination for them.
So the freezer usually grows with slow pacing. Needs emotionally, it needs to feel secure, you know, and that's why he blocks. He doesn't know what to do, and it takes time to come back online. It takes time to come back to the track because he needs to understand everything that is going on. The fleer needs to have a gentle communication. We need to know how to talk with them when we can catch them.
Catch me if you can. Catch me if you can.
If we can catch them, and but it's important for them to have a nice approach, and for them to understand it doesn't need to be everything at once. So one by one, and I believe the fleer will at least pay attention and will understand what is going on. And the fighter, when we see the fighter, he likes to, the conflict, the intensity of the conflict, but he needs to know what boundaries are.
And it shouldn't be crossed.
He needs to know that he doesn't need to shout with everyone. He doesn't need to raise the tone of his voice or her voice. I'm talking about him, but it's everyone. To make a point, to show that where the reason are, or where the reason is, or where the truth is. So I think these are points this person can already think about it. We are going to listen a song, but then we are going to talk to you what can be done to overcome these small obstacles, let's say it.
I've carried a burden for too long on my own. I wasn't created to bear it alone. I hear your invitation to let it all go. Yeah, I see it now, I'm laying it down, and I know that I need you. I run to the Father, I fall into grace. I'm done with the hiding, no reason to wait. My heart needs a surgeon, my soul needs a friend. So I run to the Father again and again. I'm done with the hiding, no reason to wait. And my heart found a surgeon, my soul found a friend. So I run to the Father again and again and again and again. Oh, again and again and again and again. Again and again.
This is the Love Talk Show on Liberty Radio.
And you see this, we were talking about these three different people, and it's not a matter of people looking for being in this way, or they desire to be like this. They already know they hurt those who they love, because either they are the freezer or the fighter or the fleer. Although they know, but they end up doing this over and over and over again. And it's not intentional in a sense of I want to hurt people, I want to fail with those who are around me, I don't want to be with them, but it's something that is, I would even say, something that drives them and forces them to behave in this way. But in moments, in calm moments, and moments where a person is thinking, Andrea, the person realizes, yes, I need to change. And that change needs to come from inside. And changing inside, we believe that the only that can change our inner, obviously, we need to have self-control, we need to have determination. I agree with you. We need to have self-confidence, self-esteem. All of these, I agree with you. But sometimes only these things, or saying these things, will sound well and good, and they are correct. We are not able to overcome this, and we need something more to overcome. And this is when we bring God to the equation. We bring God because He is the author of life, and He is the one who can help us from inside out.
And that's very important, because sometimes, like we were explaining before, it's not only a matter of inclination. I am a fighter, I am a fleer, I am a freezer. Sometimes it depends on the circumstances that that person went through, relationships, failed relationships, something that they went through while growing up in their household. So it's not only about I am like this, it's my personality. We are a whole. We are how can you say this? We are everything that we went through. We expose, or we express, or we make decisions above everything and based on everything that we went through. If we don't overcome that, that's why people have traumas. That's why they make decisions based on what they went through and what they suffered. But it's not impossible to change if we believe that within us, the things that we carried until today, they can be set free, or we can be set free from those feelings, those bad emotions. And it's possible, because we have been listening to testimonies of people that overcame exactly those type of feelings that weren't able to hold on to someone or to a relationship because of all that, because they have been fighting so hard, or because they have been freezing in the midst of situations, or just flying away and running away from whatever they need to sort. So that's when the love therapy comes. And like I was mentioning, the testimonies of people that overcame these inclinations or tendencies, or even things that they have been carrying from within. So every Thursday at 8 p.m., it's like a therapy. It's actually the love therapy.
Well, I think Derek has something to let us know. Let's hear.
I remember a time when I was with my friends and we had issues with another group of guys, and we didn't know they were going to be there. When we were walking, we came across them and we were outnumbered, and they cornered us in the car park, and then one of them pulled out a gun, and I just thought to myself, this is it. I grew up in a normal household, siblings, 2 parents, growing up on the estate with my friends. But from about the age of maybe 10, 11, I was going outside, meaning a lot of my friends that I was going out with at that time were a lot older than me. So those are the age of 14, 15 years old. So I was going out and I was being exposed to things that a normal 10 or 11-year-old shouldn't be exposed to. So because my parents knew some of the guys I was going out with, they would trust these people, but they didn't know that I was going to parties, going to raves, getting in trouble with police, being stopped by police, and it just spiraled kind of out of control. By the time I was about 14 years old, my mum brought me to the church. I was just coming because I had really no choice. I was just following my mum until the age of about 17, when I decided that I wanted to go out and explore the life outside, because I already had prior knowledge, but I didn't feel like I had fulfilled that knowledge. So I wanted to go out and learn more and do what my friends were doing at the same age group. And that's when things started going downhill, like really, really fast. Now I'm at that age where I'm getting interested in girls and taking things a bit too far, getting into trouble with my friends, getting into fights with my friends outside. And it just started to spiral to a point where I didn't know where I was going. I didn't really have any direction. And I got into a situation where a friend of mine got stabbed quite significantly bad, and I was there. And the guys that actually did the stabbing, they managed to get away, but we went up there to retaliate, but the police were there. When the police were there, the friend I was with, he had a gun in the car, and I didn't know that at the time. For some reason, I decided I'm not gonna go home with him. And the next day I found out he was arrested. I know that I could have been in a bad situation. If I was caught in the car, that's a gun charge. Even at university, I was failing. I was in a course which I didn't know what I wanted to do. I wasn't taking it seriously. And these things were happening around me constantly. But for some reason, I was always finding myself out of the situation. So that's when I started to say to myself, something's happening here. There's something is telling me that I have to make a decision about where I want to go with my life. The direction I was going wasn't a good direction. In fact, I wasn't even going in any direction. I wasn't going anywhere. I was running on the spot really fast, but there was no progression. So I started to think to myself, there has to be a difference. There has to be a change inside of me. I didn't know how it was going to happen, but I think that's when it started. Seeing things happening around me, looking at my own situation, seeing the things my friends were getting into, I said to myself, something has to change. I started to take God seriously and attend the services in the Universal Church. I wanted to change, and I was honest with God. I wasn't hiding anything from him. It wasn't easy to say certain things, but I had to be honest with God, because at the end of the day, if I wanted to see the change inside of me, I had to make sure that I poured everything out to him. And eventually, I decided to get baptized in water. And that's when I decided truly that I want to remain in the presence of God. After baptism, I saw massive improvements in my life. I was able to see things a lot more clear. My university, I chose a new course, I started a new university. Things were going really, really well. Just in a lot of areas, I could see a massive improvement within myself. There wasn't that pressure to be a part of the crowd. I was very much at peace within myself. But something was missing. I knew something was missing, and the thing that was missing was the Holy Spirit. But because of a lot of situations that happened in the past, I always felt that maybe I can't receive. However, I didn't listen to those voices. So there was a special service one day, and I made a decision even before I went to the service that today was going to be the day that I was going to surrender all on God's altar. I went there and I poured out everything, my mistakes, my secrets. I poured out everything to God. I was sincere with him. I didn't leave nothing on the table. Everything that I was holding inside me, I'd surrendered everything on God's altar. And I'll never forget when the Holy Spirit came upon me, the assurance that I had, I could move mountains. I was strong. I wasn't in doubt anymore. I didn't have the fears and insecurities that I had. And I saw my life transform completely after receiving the Holy Spirit.
I had gone through many relationships where it all ended up with the guy cheating on me. So for me, marriage felt like, it seemed like a prison, and I didn't want to subject myself to that. But after receiving the Holy Spirit, I saw marriage in a completely different light. And that's when I started to fight for my love life. And one year, I remember I had a new direction in my life. I was here in England, and without me knowing, I have a mutual friend with my now husband. And what he had done is he had sent Derek my photo and said, oh, why don't you inquire about this girl? You know, you have the Holy Spirit, she has the Holy Spirit, you're both serving God. Why don't you find out and, inquire about her? And over time, I realized that he had messaged me and we started to talk. And one thing that I really liked about Derek was the fact that he was so honest about his past. Actually, I felt a little bit ashamed about my past, and I thought that the person that I meet, I have to tell them everything about my past, because if they want to leave now, let it be at the beginning. I don't want it to wait until later on when they find things out about me and say, well, you're not for me. So I decided to open up to Derek, and he didn't even bat an eyelid, and the mercy that he showed to me, I thought, wow, this is the same kind of mercy that God had shown me as well in my life.
From a person who had no direction, hanging with the wrong people, getting into all kinds of problems, being in life and death situations, to where I am today can only be the Holy Spirit.
Today, I can say that we've been happily married for 8 years. It doesn't feel like 8 years, it feels like only yesterday we got married. It doesn't feel like a prison sentence being married to Derek. It's such a blessing.
We have 2 wonderful children who we can raise in the right way, giving them the right direction, so they don't go down the same roads that we went down. We are both very well blessed in our financial life. And I just want to emphasize that when you truly repent, when you are truly honest and sincere with God, His mercy is so great, and there's nothing that He wouldn't do for us.
This is the Love Talk Show on Liberty Radio.
Derek is an example of how a person can overcome. And Derek is not special. Derek is a person, an ordinary person who has decided to take a leap of faith and to give himself a try or an opportunity to make things different, and obviously having a different result at the end. That's why today he's sharing with us what he went through and what he was able to overcome. The love therapy will happen this coming Thursday at 232 Seven Sisters Road, London, here 5 minutes away from Finsbury Park train station. Tomorrow we are going to have this special meeting where everyone is invited. Those who are divorced, those who are single, those who are married, it doesn't matter what the situation is. The seminar is open for everyone.
And you are our special guest.
Very well. Let's hear this song, and then we are going to talk with someone who sent to us a question.
This too shall pass.
like every night that's come before it. He'll never give you more than you can bear. This too shall pass, so in this thought you'll be comforted, for it's in His hands. This too shall pass. Oh yes, the Father knows the tears you cry before they fall. He feels your pain. His heart and yours are one. The Father knows that sorrow's heavy, chains are strong, but with His strength you'll overcome. For this too shall pass, like every night that's come before it. He'll never give you more than you can bear. This too shall pass, so in this thought you'll be comforted, for it's in His hands. This too shall pass. So shut your eyes, set them on the mountain, and lift your head up to the sky, and let His arms of love surround you. Let Him take you to the other side. This too shall pass, like every night that's come and gone before it. I'm so glad He never gives you nor me more than you can bear. This too shall pass, so in this thought you'll be comforted, for it's in His hands. This too shall pass. It's in His hands. This too shall pass. Oh, it shall pass.
When it comes to faith, many people make the same mistake. They believe faith is simply a religious practice, but faith is more than religion. Faith is what connects a person to the power of God. In the book of Isaiah chapter 35, the Bible describes something extraordinary. The desert blossoms like a rose, the blind sees, the deaf hear, the paralyzed leap, the mute sing. Waters flow in the desert, the lost are rescued, and sadness is replaced with joy. Why is God describing all of these transformations? Because His speciality is taking what appears humanly impossible and making it possible. However, for that to happen, one essential component is required: faith. Everyone has a natural faith. For example, when you plant a seed, you believe it will grow. But supernatural faith goes beyond what your eyes see and what your circumstances tell you. Maybe you feel broken. Maybe you wonder if your life can ever be rebuilt again. But the question is, what will you choose to believe? Because what you believe will define the life you live. As it is written in the second epistle to the Corinthians, we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen, since what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal. This Thursday at 8 p.m, join us for Faith Alone and discover how faith can transform even the most impossible situations at 232 Seven Sisters Road, Finsbury Park, London, N4 3NX. Faith Alone, because with faith, the impossible becomes possible.
This is the Love Talk Show on Liberty Radio. Real stories, real dilemmas, real solutions. Only on the Dear Love Talk Show.
How do people manage external pressure from family, culture, or society without allowing it to shape their relationship choices?
So how do people manage external pressure from family, culture, or society without allowing it to shape their relationship choices? So I went through that because I was 20 years old. I was 20 years old when I got married. I was trying to remember, but I wanted to say actually that when we decided to get married, I was 19 years old. Until today, they thought that I was pregnant. Well, we don't have children until today, but they thought, oh, she's getting married so young because she's pregnant maybe. So you go through people criticizing. You go through this external pressure. Why is she marrying so young? Why is she marrying with this person? Why at the church, or this church or that church? So you have to come to a point. Actually, if you are over 18, at least here and in majority of the countries, if you are over 18, you need to be able to make your own decisions. Of course, you need also to listen to your parents or family because they are more mature, and sometimes people they just don't care. We have a difference here. Sometimes I don't care about what you're saying, but they are more mature and they can see that you are going to drown making that decision. But
an opinion to see the future, an advice to see how it's going to be.
Mature,
people who already
wiser.
have a little bit more of miles in this life, they may give them a different perspective. But at the end of the day, the person with all this knowledge is able to take a decision of their own choices.
So I heard from my family, are you going to leave your father and your brother because I was there at home with them? My mother was not around. So are you going to leave them, abandon them? Look the perspective that the pressure came externally. You're going to abandon them and leaving them to get married. And until today, if I would have heard and have been led by that type of pressure, I wouldn't be married for 28 years now, and we are happily married, and thanks God we're still here. So you have to see what it's better for you at the end of the day, listening to advices, understanding what your parents' opinion is, mostly your parents, close family, not everyone, family like family from abroad or neighbors, but maybe your closest family. But then at the end of the day, you need to make up your mind and your own decision. Like I am telling you my real story. Until this day, if I've ever heard or allowed myself to be led by this external pressure, I wouldn't be married for 28 years now. But again, at the end of the day, it's your choice and you are the one that is going to bear the consequences. So think deep.
Well, if you have a question, you can send us to love@uckg.org. Well, the program, the Love Talk Show, comes back tomorrow at 10 p.m. For more information, you can go to uckg.org. May God bless you all. See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
That's a wrap on today's Love Talk Show, where every conversation brings you closer to intelligent love. We'll be back soon with more love, more truth, and more talk. Until next time, keep practicing intelligent love.